Hey, what's up everybody? This is jazz saxophonist Elan Trotman, here to tell you 5 reasons why I like to play Cannonball saxophones. First, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Born and raised in Barbados, beautiful island, one of the most incredible places in the entire world, with the most beautiful people. In 1998, I moved to Boston, Massachusetts to attend Berklee College of Music and majored in music education, taught in Boston public schools for a number of years, and eventually decided that I wanted to play music for a living and travel the world and get to tour and play with different artists. So fast forward to 2013 and here I am. I've been playing Cannonball saxophones for about 4 years, and I want to give you the 5 reasons why I believe that these are some of the most incredible instruments in the universe. Reason number 1, the Cannonball family. About 4 years ago, I went to NAMM, the National Association of Music Merchants Conference in Anaheim, and I tried a lot of different instruments from different manufacturers. And I had already been familiar with Cannonball because of artists like Gerald Albright and Eric Darius and Najee, who are all great friends of mine, and I've had numerous opportunities to see them perform. And their horns sound amazing in the studio and on stage. And I had an opportunity to go over to the Cannonball booth and meet the Cannonball family. And the unique thing about Cannonball and the ownership is that Tevis and Cheryl, they're both musicians, they're both saxophone players. And I've actually had a chance to hear them perform and hear their compositions. And I think that's one of the things that makes this company very unique. And all the way down to their staff, Ryan, the designers, engravers, the technicians, they're all musicians, they all play, they all perform, they've all studied, so they are musicians and they care about us genuinely, and they care about how our horns are functioning, and they want to make sure that we get the best out of our instruments. So that's something that's very unique, and I think it separates them from a lot of other companies. And I went over to the factory and I was able to try a lot of different horns and have them look at my horn personally. So it's just a very tight-knit family of musicians, and I think that really separates them from many other companies. Reason number 2. When I picked up my first Cannonball horn, I was just very surprised at how sturdy it was. It's a little heavier than most horns, especially the Big Bell series, which is what I play on tenor. But the reason for that is that the bell is a little bigger than the average size horn, giving you more power and more options with your dynamics. You can get a very warm but open subtone, but you can also get a very powerful fortissimo based on the size of the bell. And also the rods, they're just very sturdy. The posts are very secure. I actually took my horn over to Emilio Lyons, the saxophone doctor, who really only loves Selmers and vintage saxophones. But when he picked up my Cannonball, he said the same thing that I said. He's like, this thing is just built like a truck. It's just very sturdy. They're built to last. They can take a beating. You know, I travel probably every 7 days. I've probably flown over 50,000 miles in the last year, and this horn goes with me everywhere, and I've never had any issues with it leaking or any problems with keys falling off or posts being bent. It's just really well built. And also the finishes, you know, I was really impressed with the fact that the company gives you different options for finishes. I picked just the regular black finish. It doesn't look black per se, but it's called the black finish. But it has a nice shine to it. And I picked the Tiger Eye Pearl finish. But you know, you go on the Cannonball website or you call the company and you're able to assemble the horn with whatever finish you want, whatever model. There's the vintage models, there's a hot spur, which is a combination of different finishes. So there's lots of options. You can almost custom build your horn, and that makes this company, again, very special. Also, you get 2 necks with each horn. The fat neck is a little wider and it has the underslung octave key. which to me gives you a little more power because there's less resistance. It makes total sense because when you play into it, the gravity is pulling your ear down as opposed to up, and it just gives you less resistance, and I get a much brighter and warmer sound with this neck, which alone costs about $400. So you're getting 2 necks with the saxophone, which is very cool, and it comes with a very beautiful hard case that's very durable, but I choose to use a travel bag so I can travel on the plane. Reason number 3, the sound of the instrument is amazing, and I think, you know, Cannonball has something really special and something very different from other horns, where you can get power, but you can also get clarity, and it's just a very smooth sounding horn. And I'll play for you in a little bit to show you what I mean. So that was reason number 3, just the sound is just amazing. The big bell sound, again, I'm just able to get a very warm sound in the bottom octaves and bottom registers, but I'm also to get a lot of power when I enter into the higher registers and the altissimos. I'm able to get a lot of power, which I like for the kind of music that I play, contemporary jazz, because sometimes you're in loud situations and you're not always able to compete with instruments that are amplified. So this gives me an opportunity to at least try to be heard and not have to overblow, because the horn makes it easier. I like to compare it to driving a Ferrari, or as a golfer, I like to compare it to the clubs that you use. You know, the better equipment you have, the less harder you have to work. So when you have a well-built horn, a powerful horn, it just makes your job a lot easier. Reason number 4, this is more of a personal reason. The horn has just allowed me to further my career in more ways than you can imagine. You know, first and foremost, the horn allows me to deliver my message with clarity and diction. I think for any musician, our message, you know, comes from our heart, from our soul, and we need the tools to be able to communicate that message to our audience, whether it be on stage or in the studio. And if we're not able to do that, then it becomes very frustrating. And I think that having an instrument that you can trust and rely on 24/7 allows you to be able to communicate this message to your listeners every single time. And you know, I take pride in my sound, I take pride in my performance. That's why we practice for hours and hours. That's why we're always working on our show, trying to grow as an artist. And having a beautiful instrument, this is what connects what we have inside of us to what you're hearing. It has to pass through this instrument. Obviously, having a good mouthpiece, Iowani mouthpieces, by the way, and playing reeds that are durable. I use Rico reeds and Van Doren sometimes. But again, the horn is really that tool that allows us to communicate to our audience. Alright, and lastly, reason number 5. I figured I'd just play for you and let you hear why I like to play Cannonball horns, and you tell me what you think. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to check out the Cannonball website, and feel free to email me at elantrotman.com if you have any questions about these beautiful horns, or just to say hello. Thanks for listening.